10s, a top 10 time machine.
Welcome back to Past 10's, a top 10 time machine. It's the podcast where we go back in time. We look at the Billboard top musical hits from a given year, and then we talk about what has held up, what hasn't, and we have a lot of fun in between. My name is Dave, but more importantly, he likes smoke and lightning, heavy metal thunder, racing with the wind, and the feeling that he's under. He's the Chartmeister, Michael Milt Wolf. Yeah, oh yeah.
Yes, I am. Heavy metal thunder.
Heavy metal thunder.
Exactly how you think of me, right?
Yes, you are Mr. Heavy Metal Thunder. You breathe nails and bolts and all kinds of things.
That's exactly right. Chains and leather. Chains and leather. That's what I'm all about.
And leather and lace and let's stop. Yeah.
Well, listen, Dave.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. But we're great to be back in the time machine with you. I love these trips back, as do so many of our listeners who's been writing us on top10timemachine@gmail.com and visiting our website and timemachinepod.com. I got that right.
Right.
How's that for the plugs? But I got to say, the more, we're going back in time in this, and I realized here in 2021, now that football season has started, it's like revisiting the past all over again, because once again, the New York Jets absolutely stink. It was like the opening kickoff and the season's over. That's it. We're done. Thank you. Good night.
That's an old Family Guy joke that's actually attributed to the Mets. It's like being a Mets fan is like, here's the first pitch of the season and the season's over.
That's exactly
and that's kind of jet-like. And well, you're breaking in your 22nd quarterback in 23 years or whatever it is. So
God. At least old music is enjoyable, right? Because my old sports memories through my football team are certainly not. So
this takes us
God for the time machine.
Well, I don't know where the time machine's taking us, but there have been plenty of periods in time where the Jets and Patriots both sucked, and it's possible they both may suck this season. We didn't look so good. We didn't look so good on Sunday, and we have high hopes, but whatever.
We'll be sharing this misery together.
Yes.
But like I said, hopefully our listeners enjoy these trips back in time as much as we do, if not more than we do, and are ready to find out what we're doing now. We had a great trip back into the 80s last week. An even better trip back into the 70s, although a little bit flipped maybe. People like the 80s better.
Good.
Once again, by the way, our rating systems are coming into question.
Oh.
People said, we got some notes that said we wildly overrated last week's podcast. I think Professor Gallant let us have it on that one. Am I right?
Professor David Gallant, a great, proud machiner and co-host of Get Back to the Beatles podcast here on pod617.com, and has been a guest on the show, of course, with his pod partner Chachi. And he said that, we need to stretch out the curve, I guess. He's a professor. He would know. He's a professor. Maybe we should be listening to this guy. In other words, he's like, give out a few C pluses and C's here and there, so you're not giving. And I do, but the problem is we love music, man. Like, I love them all. I like them all, Yeah,
I mean, one of these days we're going to land on a week that truly, utterly sucks from top to bottom.
Right.
And hopefully people will want to listen to that. But for now, so far it's still going well. But
so
I don't know where we're going, man.
I haven't, and I don't either. And we're about to find out. Before we do, I'm going to go out on a limb here, and because we've been telling people about this T-shirt that Tommy used to work on the docks T-shirt, or call it the 80s mantra T-shirt, whatever. It's our T-shirt, and it's got all kinds of lyrics from songs from the 80s on it. If you go to timemachinepod.com and click on store, this podcast will have a posting date. I'm not even going to tell you what it is. But if you email us within 24 hours and you give us, you have to say something. You have to give some reaction to the show that you just listened to, okay? Free T-shirt. Free 24 hours of this podcast posting within 24 hours. If we hear from you at email, please, Milt.
top10timemachine@gmail.com.
That's it.
10, T-E-N, timemachine@gmail.com.
Put in the subject line, give me my friggin' T-shirt. But then you better write something good.
Okay. You are going to have to name in the body copy one of our substitution songs, one of the songs that either Dave or I substitutes in this podcast, and give us your thoughts on whether that substitution was worthy or unworthy.
There you go.
How about that?
That's it. You have to comment on the substitution and name the song and
offer your own if you prefer. Maybe we'll read them out.
Whatever. Anyway, listen to the pod. Okay. Enjoy it. Get your T-shirt.
Good.
Yep.
Well, good. That's a setup.
There you go.
Now I'm excited.
Better.
Now I'm really excited.
Okay.
But more importantly, I'm excited to find out where we're going back in time to listen to the music of a bygone era. Hopefully it's worth the journey, Dave. I want you to take us there.
Let's fire it up, man. Milt, the time machine has taken us back to the week ending September 14th, 1968.
I like to dream.
Yeah.
Yes, right between the sound machine.
Now, all right, this is interesting. 1968, so this is one of the furthest we've ever gone back. I know we've done some early to mid-60s. But what makes this especially interesting is that this date falls literally between the births of Michael Wolff and the birth of David Lee Yass.
How about
in
that?
Fact, it falls right in the middle. I was born in August 68. You were born in October 68.
That's right.
And here we are in September 1968.
So
I kind
you-
of love that.
Yeah, so Milt, you got to fill me in on all that stuff that happened in the 6 weeks before I was born. What was it like?
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Summer of love, man, right?
It was I was filled with warm lactate milk.
A warm and dark and squishy place turned into a cruel world. Yes.
Yes.
Anyway.
I was getting the shit kicked out of me by my twin sister.
Oh, that's
You know,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, you
she's
guys
dominating.
came out together.
It was crowded where I was. Oh, by the way, you know what's
Explains
kind
a
of
lot.
funny about this? We got an email, I think, from a listener, from another loyal time machiner, Ian, right, who was relating something to our age.
Yes.
What was that email?
Yes. Very clever email from awesome Pantheon machiner Ian Bruce. He writes, if you were 9 when Rock Lobster came out, you'd be 52 now. I like a good pun.
Which
You
is
can get
actually,
it, be
that
52.
holds true for you,
Yeah,
not for me.
right.
Because you have not turned 50.
That's
yet.
true.
So
That's
you
what-
still
I'm still
be 52.
I'm still B52. Yeah.
Right.
Roam if you want to.
Well,
Thank
listen,
you- thank
I'm
you,
going to
Ian,
have
for
to come
chiming in.
clean
Yep.
and let you know that I dropped the ball a little bit this week. I did not look back in history. I kind of thought that it was irrelevant because I was not a sentient, really. Well, I was a barely sentient human being at the time. But what
Okay.
I do know is the number one movie of the week this week in 1968.
Oh, can I guess?
was-
Can I guess?
Yeah.
68. Chinatown. No. Give me a hint.
No.
Give me a hint. Have I ever heard of this movie?
I will give you a hint. Ready?
Yep.
Monolith.
Monolith. Godzilla. I don't know.
Oh, come on.
A monolith is a big stone thing that. Oh,
Correct.
Planet of the Apes. Planet of the Apes.
No.
Oh, I
You're
don't
getting closer, though, because there were apes in the scene with the monolith. Our listeners are screaming at their
I can't-
iPods right now.
Oh. 10 Commandments.
iPhones.
10 Commandments?
No, I'm going to kill you.
I
2001, A Space
yeah.
Odyssey.
You know what? I've never seen that movie.
What?
I was gonna say History of the World Part 1 because I think they
That actually- yeah,
they
that sort of takes
they
off on
spoofed
that,
that
doesn't it?
scene. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've never seen 2001. Should I go back and watch it?
Well, if you
I'm
haven't
sorry,
seen it,
Stanley
it just
Kubrick.
means you're the only person on earth who hasn't been utterly confused by it. So maybe
Oh, okay.
enjoy that position.
Yeah,
okay?
I think I'll stay
Great
where I am.
movie, even though you have no idea what's going on.
Okay.
It's fantastic.
Okay.
Anyway, look, that's all I got for you. We're not going to talk about it. I think we should just get straight into the music.
You don't want to read that Apple
16.
that Shining Apple podcast review that we got? You
Dude,
want to
I
read
did
that?
forget
Yeah,
about
that's
that. You're
okay.
right. We did get one. People leave us reviews on Apple Podcasts or on our website. They're terrific. We got one from a listener named Griffin Warfer,
Yeah.
who gave us 5 stars. Excellent podcast. He said, it's not that I'm anti-podcast. It's just that I almost never listen to them. Still, when I came across the 9/2/21 episode of the Top 10 Time Machine, I thought I'd give it a 5-minute whirl. Plus, I have especially fond musical memories from '84, and I was curious to see what songs would come up. I thought Dave and Milt were terrific. To my own surprise, I listened to the nearly 2-hour episode straight through.
All right.
And he gave all kinds of other things. He said, the best thing was he started remembering his 14-year-old self when these songs were part of his Summer of '84 soundtrack. What a trip. Griffin Warfer, I don't know who you are, but thank you for writing. And we love
I don't
finding
either.
and hearing about new time machiners.
Restaurant quality review. And if you listen to the pod all the way through, again, you might get yourself a T-shirt.
Oh, look at that. All right, Griffin Warfer,
I'm all about the
give this
t-shirt.
one another listen.
Okay.
All right, but what he's really waiting for is the music, right?
Yeah.
Look, 68. Again, I was barely
68.
alive. You were not alive. This could be very interesting. All right, let's get back in the machine, find out what the top 10 songs of the week were.
Here we go.
Number 10.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her into your heart. Then you can start to make it better.
Slow start. Slow start.
Hey Jude.
I don't know. I'm having a moment. I can hear Paul so crisp in my headphones. It's art. It is art.
I don't know if we've ever started a top 10 time machines stronger than we're starting right now.
I can't imagine you could. I mean, there were those that feel we're now listening to the greatest song of all time. Some.
There's an argument to be made.
Yes.
But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Beatles' Hey Jude, the 16th of 20 number one hits by our good friends from Liverpool. And this was, David Lee Yaz, their biggest ever. This was, top 10 this week, but was a number one hit for 9 weeks, which was a record at that time that stood for almost a decade for the longest run at number one. And yes, here we are in the first song of the weekly countdown. This was the number one song of 1968, right here, right now.
Doesn't it kind of make you melancholy, kind of a little bit sad and happy at the same time? Because, first of all, the sound has that kind of twang to it that just evokes emotions. But also, the Beatles famously went out on top. This was near the end, right? Right near the end, right?
Close to the end.
Yeah.
Close to the end. Yeah. Not quite. This also was never released on an album officially, like one of their official albums. This was recorded during the White Album sessions, but was actually released before the White Album came out as a single. So you had the White Album following this, you had Abbey Road, you had Let It Be. So there were albums to come, but this was towards the latter edge. What's melancholy about it is what the song was written about. And again, this is the typical caveat we give. This podcast is not going to out Beatles the Beatles fanatics out there. Who
Right.
know
We're not
everything about
Beatlemaniacs, right? Yeah.
Right. But Paul McCartney originally wrote this song called Hey Jules, which was an ode of concern to John Lennon's son Julian after John left his wife Cynthia for Yoko Ono. He was literally in his car on the way to visit Cynthia and Julian when he was a 5-year-old boy, and had this tune. He felt such sympathy for him. He had this tune pop in his head and wrote the song for him, and then changed it to Jude because it sounded better. But can you imagine him bringing this song to John Lennon later? Lennon knowing he's writing this about how I fucked up my son.
Yeah, it's one of the stranger inspirations for a song. We talked in recent episodes about Sweet Caroline and how Neil Diamond probably didn't write that as a love song. He wrote it about wistfully looking at young Caroline Kennedy, like super young.
Wait, are we at the Nanas?
Here they are. I
mean, so much more legendary than it should be. First of all, this Na 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 coda lasts 4 minutes long. So it shouldn't be great. It's 4 minutes of nanas.
Which is longer than the song is up to that point.
The song is, first of all, it's over 7 minutes. It's long. At the time, it was the longest single ever released up to this point.
Yep.
And ironically, it was supposed to be the B-side to Revolution. We hear this all the time. Revolution was supposed to be the A-side. And they put this on the B-side, and they flipped it. I mean...
Nothing wrong with Revolution either, of course. But
No, definitely not. But it's like when the orchestration builds in this song, and then McCartney starts shrieking, it's rock and roll history.
Yeah, and only the Beatles could get away with it. Who gets away with a 4-minute fade out? It's incredible. I mean, I have actually just a kind of a funny childhood memory of this. I was at summer camp Maplewood in Easton, Massachusetts. Just kind of I was going to say shitty. That's not nice. Kind of an unspectacular day camp. And for some reason, some dude would play this like out of a cabin right before lunchtime every day. And everybody in my bunk used to run over to this picnic table, and you'd have 12 to 16, 8-year-old kids screaming those nanas, and that was before I even knew what the name of the song was. I knew the Nas first. Like I didn't know. I was like, I don't exactly remember what year it was, but it was probably like 1976, 77, somewhere in there. Which is weird for me to think, because for me it was just some old song. It was just some old song because it was before I was born.
It wasn't that old at the time.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was less than 10 years old, which is weird. Yeah.
Although I'll bet you bring up a good point. I'll bet this is one of the songs. They always talk about how the Beatles are really the first band that appeals truly across generations. And this song might be a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Young people love this song. Middle-aged people, old people. It's just universal. And yeah, it's overplayed. We've heard it a million times. But I dare you to put on headphones, listen to this song from beginning to end, and not get moved.
Yeah.
It's just chilling. It's great. It's great. What else can we say?
Yeah.
There's two other things I wanted to bring up about this. Were you about to say something, Dave?
No, go ahead. You go.
First of all, there's a famous, John Lennon actually did help with this song. There's a famous bit where, the line that gets repeated a couple of times where Paul sings, "The movement you need is on your shoulder."
Yeah.
Paul actually put that in as a placeholder.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was playing the song for the first time to John Lennon, he made this like hand movement. It's like, no, don't worry. That's just a placeholder. I'll fix that later. And John Lennon turned to him and said, "No, you won't. That's the best line in the entire song. Don't change a thing."
Oh,
so
Paul, that's
Lennon
wonderful.
was into
That's
that avant-garde thing.
Don't you dare change it. Oh, it's terrible, John. Sorry.
That was. I can't do it any better.
That is. That's one of those cool little things. How sometimes genius is by accident, right? So there you go.
Totally.
There you go.
And remember, this was recorded during the White Album sessions, and the band was starting to fight a lot. And this was the session where Ringo Starr quit the band for like an hour or something like it, whatever. But there's a famous bit that was caught on film of Paul McCartney and George Harrison fighting over the guitar part that Harrison was supposed to play for the song that became sort of the representation of their tension. Do you have that clip queued up?
I do. Here we go.
It's like, should we play guitar all through Hey Jude? Well, I don't think we should.
Yeah, okay, well, I don't mind. I'll play, whatever you want me to play. Or I won't play at all if you don't want me to play. No, whatever. That would please you. I'll do it.
I wish we could start.
I mean, that's all. I mean, when you hear George Harrison saying, "I'll play however you want," or "I won't play at all," I mean, that's like, dude, that's ugly, right?
Somehow, every argument gets not more violent, but somehow more bitter when it's with the British accent. I'll play, or I won't play at all. If that suits you, does that suit you? How would that be if I didn't play at all?
Acerbic. There's an acerbic.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's
how's
sort
that
of
for a word? Throwing the SAT words out there.
That's good. It's like, part acerbic, part sort of passive aggressive.
Totally.
No, maybe I won't play at all. How would you like that, Paul?
That was good. That one worked.
All right, fellas. Keep that one.
Well played. Well, like I said, I don't think we've ever started a past 10 strong. We'll have to go look back on our episodes and rate our top 10 opening songs, but I don't think anything's beaten this one.
This could be a silly question, silly exercise, but does it make your top 10 songs of all time, Chartmeister?
If I was being honest with myself, I'd probably say yes. I would probably try to keep it off because it's too typical.
Yeah.
But it's one of 2 or 3 Beatles songs that move me the most and therefore should be in my top 10 songs, right?
I think it would be in my top 10 Beatles songs of all time.
Oh, that's no question.
Yeah, but it's just the I don't know. It's a loaded question when you ask people's favorite songs because it's I've done the exercise before just for shits and giggles, and the top 10, like 5 of them are songs that no one would ever have anywhere near there. Because they're just mine, and I'm like, I don't care.
Yours. So that's what I mean.
If you worked for like Rolling Stone magazine in its heyday, and you had to vote for the 100 best songs of all time, then this one I could see voting in the top 3 because it's sort of like it may not be your personal favorite, but recognize its greatness. It is history. A great song.
It is history.
Yep.
And here we're just at number 10. My goodness. Okay.
No,
strong start, as they say.
That's the end of the show. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for.
I say we stick with it.
Okay.
So can we get back to the
Okay,
show?
let's go.
There's more to do.
Here we go.
number 9.
Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game.
All right. I mean, fairly stupid lyric in a way, but another classic.
Also, thank you, Paul McCartney and Jim Morrison, for putting the title of the song so early.
Oh, right
It's
Makes
making
it
my
easy
job
for us.
easy. But
This song is called Won't You Tell Me Your Name by The Doors.
I don't think so.
Oh, you're right. It's Hello, I Love You, of course.
Yep.
The Doors only had 3 top 10 hits. Isn't that funny? This was the second of 3 top 10 hits. The first one being Light My Fire. This was the second one, but was also their second song to reach number 1. This was from a later album than Light My Fire. I think this was from their third album, I believe, but also reached the number 1 heights of the top of the charts. This was about Jim Morrison basically meeting a girl on the beach and falling for her, but he was too shy apparently to talk to her. So he ran back to his bungalow and wrote a song about her. Hello, I love you. How about that?
That's what I used to do all the time, too. And that's my excuse for not getting more lucky in our college days. I was always running back to my room. Well, the difference was
you weren't writing hit songs.
No,
you were just
you and I would
masturbating, basically.
You and I would run back to our room to play Nintendo SNK baseball.
Exactly. Which is why we're not rock and roll
just
legends.
like Jim Morrison.
This song, by the way, this song was in Forrest Gump. I didn't realize this. There's a scene in Forrest Gump when he plays ping pong that this is in. For some reason, the Doors had 6 songs in that movie. 6 songs of the Doors was in Forrest Gump, by far more than any other band. You know, Forrest Gump covered the decade, so it was considered sort of this review of musical history through the eyes of...
Had more Doors songs in it than the movie The Doors. No, it didn't. Not exactly. No.
I tell you to play the chorus, but there is really none. What's playing now?
The song's over.
Is it really?
Yeah, we've been talking for... Well, the song is...
Well, actually,
the song is all of 2 minutes and like 40 seconds, right? Yeah. It's a short song.
But this is interesting. I'm glad because it's going to let me play something else.
I'll run it back.
The Doors actually originally recorded this song, not in 1968, but way back in 1965 when they were first trying to get a record deal. They called themselves at the time, not the Doors, Rick and the Ravens. Oh, yeah. The Doors is a better name. What were you going to say?
The Windows? Yeah.
Yeah, too easy. It was only added to their third album when they had this master plan on this third album to record an entire album where one side was one song based on Jim Morrison's poetry. And somebody told them that's not a good idea. So they needed material, found this kind of in their vaults, and they re-recorded it. They later resurfaced the original demo. And can you play that clip for us?
Sure.
Not as good. No.
Well, the only thing that makes it sound similar to the existing version is Morrison's vocals. Before Morrison chimes in, it sounds like I don't know what, like a jug band almost, like, right?
Kind of. Yeah, it's like mid-60s goofy.
It sounds like Bill Haley and the Comets or something, maybe. I don't know, something like a skiffle band. Maybe something like that. Yeah.
A little skiffle. Yeah. Now, there was also some controversy, some big controversy with the song. We cover these situations all the time. The song is extraordinarily similar to another classic rock legend. The Kinks, of course, way before, I'm not sure exactly what year. Their song All Day and All the Night sounds so similar that ultimately the Doors had to pay royalties to Hello, I Love You because of those similarities. Play a little clip of All Day, and you could do both back and forth, but go ahead and play All Day and All the Night.
From 1964, 4 years earlier,
by the way. There we go. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, won't you go?
And of course, the other one is, well, the Kinks ripped themselves off years later with the song Destroyer, which sounds just like this, and that one sounds even more like Hello, I Love You, but But are you saying that so this song, according to my brief look at the internet here, came out in 1964, the Kinks, and this Doors song obviously came out later. So what? So did the Kinks actually accuse?
The Doors had to pay. They
did.
I think somebody in the Kinks camp raised their hand and said, guys, and somebody kind of sunk their head and said, okay, we'll pay you.
Yeah, see, I remember as like a 10-year-old and becoming learned in rock and roll, and it was those two songs that we just talked about, not Destroyer, but they were songs that you kind of had to know. There were standards. Like there were certain Led Zeppelin songs that everyone knew. There were certain Doors songs that everyone knew. And I remember getting confused between those two songs.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I remember.
You didn't
like,
know who the bands were at the time.
Yeah,
it's the same song.
It kind of is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Although I want them both in my life, so I'm glad it was settled and everything. I mean, do you like "Hello, I Love You"?
I do. I think the lyric is ridiculous nonsense, but there's something about this song that combines kind of a pop edge. There's something about the way it starts that the fuzziness to it actually, to me, adds a little edge to it. And I do. I dig it. I definitely dig it. I think real diehard Doors fans hated it at the time because they thought it was kind of selling out. It wasn't as melancholy and brooding as a lot of Jim Morrison stuff. Yep. But come on, it's a great song.
Wasn't that Morrison's complaint later on about "Touch Me"? That might have been even the latest song.
For sure.
Yeah,
that's definitely poppy. That's almost like campy.
Right, but I hear that it wouldn't be in my top 5 Doors songs. The song, but I like it. It's a standard. It makes me smile to hear it. You know,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. By the way, just one quick trivia fact. I didn't know this, but after Jim Morrison's death, the band members stayed together. They actually recorded a couple albums, but the rest of the band actually just considered bringing Iggy Pop into the Doors to be their lead singer.
I had no idea.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah. And by the way, why not? Like, I mean, no one's going to, and it would be the first thing Iggy would say. He would come in and say, no one's going to replace Jim Morrison.
Maybe he didn't want to. I don't know the full story.
No,
but Iggy Pop in the Doors.
He's, I mean, I'm thinking about it going, yeah, maybe. Like,
well, it's hard to out charisma Jim Morrison. Iggy Pop could have done it.
Yeah. It's the same reaction I had when I heard Sammy Hagar for Van Halen. I was like, yeah, that could work. And
Gary Sharon.
Then a couple of albums later, I was like, it kind of didn't work. Yeah. It almost never works. We've talked about this before in the podcast.
Yeah, it works technically with Hagar from a chart standpoint. They sold a shit ton of albums.
I know. But come on.
All right, 2 classic rock staples at the beginning of this chart in 1968. Let's find out where the chart takes us next. So let's get back in the machine.
Here we go.
Number 8.
I hear wolves.
Huh?
I hear wolves. Faintly.
That's me. Back down the hatches.
Oh, man.
More nanas, Dave. The nanas have it.
Get your nanas out. All right, do you want to?
Yeah, look, this is our 3rd consecutive rock and roll Hall of Fame band. And it took them a while to get there, but they did get there. This is Deep Purple with their classic Hush, their very first single and one of only 2 songs to hit the top 10 for the hard rock. Really, they're considered hard rock kind of almost heavy metal pioneers, which you don't necessarily hear in this song, but that's what they're considered. Right. Number 8 here, peaks at number 4. I associate this song with Deep Purple, period. However, it is not an original song, and I didn't know this before. And this is why I love this podcast, because this song was written by a famous writer / performer named Joe South, and was recorded by Billy Joe Royal really as a country song, if you can believe it.
Wow.
And I didn't cue this up because I didn't feel like playing the whole thing. But when you listen to it, it actually really is a country song. And somehow Deep Purple got a hold of it, realized, wait a minute, we can actually rock out to this thing. And next thing you know, they've got a rock and roll class.
Smart move. I have a confession. I have a confession to make. I'm slurring a little bit tonight. I have a confession to make. I can't hit the never heard of it, but I never knew this song was called Hush. I just
really.
I probably just called it the Na Na song, and if with the gun to my head, I might have been able to come up with Deep Purple, but it's instantly recognizable. And
you know what's funny, Dave? And again, proof that we have the same brain. In my notes that I'm staring at, I wrote down confession.
Yep.
Now, my confession was not that I didn't know the name was Hush. My confession is that I've really never been that into Deep Purple.
Yeah. Well, neither have I.
Okay, so
yeah,
look, Deep Purple, rock and roll fans worship them. In fact, they were left out of the Rock Hall of Fame for years, which was considered an outrage. And artists like Gene Simmons and Geddy Lee and Metallica and Slash all lobbied for them, and eventually the band got in 2016. So
well,
there we go.
I think that might have something to do with our generation in that, you know, you were going to go back and listen to the Doors just because so many people were into the Doors. You were going to go back and listen to the Beatles and the Stones. And when I say go back, I mean you're going back and listening to music that came out before you were a formative person, before you were like 5 years old or whatever. But a band like Deep Purple or a band like Foghat or one of these crunch rock bands that kind of have a couple of hits, you might not go back. Like, yeah, I know Smoke on the Water. Fantastic.
I'll bet if we were in college in 1968, we were listening to Deep Purple.
The whole Deep Purple album.
The problem was you were in a womb, right, and I had my thumb in my mouth.
Hey,
we weren't listening to Deep Purple.
My womb was rocking. So
I'm sure it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was. Anyway, not much else that needs to be said about this song. You know, Deep Purple's Richie Blackmore was on guitar. They've been through like a shit ton of lineup changes. This was part of their first lineup. Like I said, it was their first single. Rod Stewart actually apparently auditioned to be the singer in this formation, but didn't get it. They went with somebody named Rod Evans. Can you imagine turning Rod Stewart down as your lead singer? That's pretty sick.
Yeah. And Iggy Pop was supposed to be there too, but he was busy auditioning for the Doors.
Who actually later became a member of Deep Purple was David Coverdale of Whitesnake.
Is that right?
His big deal was being in Deep Purple before that. Not on this song, in a later version of it. But to me, this song is all about the Nas. The reason you don't know the Hush is because you know the Nas.
Yeah, I just know na 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 na. Yeah, I mean, hey, great song. I'm not going to shit on it. I'm not going to shit on Deep Purple.
Between Hey Jude, this song, and Na 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 Hey Hey Goodbye, nah, maybe the perfect rock and roll nonsense word.
Oh, well, you're going to get dispute from La, Yeah, Hey, and Woo. So
you're leaving out hi.
And speaking of nonsensical sound effects, Milt. Oh my God! It's time for the play date. You didn't even know it was coming, did you?
Surprise!
Yes, the play date. So as we do on the show, I will quiz Milt on a certain subject inspired by the song that we just heard. What we just heard was Deep Purple. So this is a little different. We're gonna do bands with colors in the titles of the bands.
Oh,
how about that?
That's sweet. The spectrum.
Right.
The spectrum of colors. It's going to be a rainbow episode.
Right. So as I will do, I'll give Milt just a brief little snippet. Hopefully he can name that band in just a couple of notes. And we've got 8 of them, Milt. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. Here's the first one.
Who is this?
Nothing? I'll keep going. I think you'll get it. Come on, Jack. Sing.
Well, the times are getting hard for you, little girl. I'm a humming and a strumming all over God's world. You can't remember when.
Nothing?
Why am I not getting this? It sounds incredibly familiar, but it's just not coming.
Think, this is dark, but think, Tragic Fire. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, this is Great White.
Right,
God damn it.
Yeah. This, of course, is the big hit. Can you name it?
I never liked Great
I'll tell
White.
you. Here we go. Oh, he didn't say it. That wasn't the chorus. It's my, once bitten, twice shy.
Oh, damn it.
Okay.
Great White. Good one.
Yep. All right, here's an easier one.
0 for 1.
0 for 1.
Oh, the Indigo Girls.
That's
the
right.
fact that I know Indigo Girls and I don't know Great White is not a good sign.
Well,
My masculinity just took a plunge.
I could have given you an Indigo Girls deep cut, but I didn't. That would have been mean.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, so you got that one. Nicely done. I think you'll get this one too.
Of course. It's the Black Keys, baby.
That's right. So this is Lonely Boy by the Black Keys. I take it you've seen the video, which is just like this sort of pleasant-looking older black dude just dancing kind of awkwardly.
It's kind of great.
But why? But
No, it's stupid. I get it. But it's almost like an inside joke.
right, it just went on a little too long.
Yeah, maybe.
It went on for the whole song. Anyway, so that's good. Well done on that one, Milt. Here's the next one. You got it.
It's the Black Crowes.
That's right. This is Hard to Handle by the Black Crowes, which, of course, is a cover of a legendary...
Otis.
Oh, okay, that's an Otis Redding song? Right. I remember seeing an interview with them, and they were talking about originality, and Chris Robinson was like, that's why all the songs we do are completely original, except for that one.
The biggest hit of their
happened to be
career.
a huge hit for them, yeah. All right, we got a few left. How about this one? Should I keep going? I'll give you a little more.
I know the song.
Hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell.
Oh, it's the White Stripes, right?
That's right. Very good, Milt.
Took me a while. I should have gotten that right away. I'm surprised
Well,
you didn't do Seven Nation Army, though.
That would have been too easy. So yeah, it's
fair.
kind of a change of pace song for the White Stripes. Also, the theme song to Conan O'Brien's podcast. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
So now we owe royalties.
Yes. No, we don't. We do whatever we want. We're past tense, damn it. Here's this one.
It's the average white band, my friend.
That's right.
It's basically describing you and I if we ever actually started playing instruments.
I gotta say that this, if you had given me this one, I don't think I would have come up with it. But
Oh, really?
well, I mean, I'm very familiar with the song, but I don't know. Average, I don't know if I would have done it. Anyway, a couple more. This one's kind of hard.
Little child.
Oh, God, this is one of those hair metal bands.
Yep.
Oh, what were they called? I don't like them.
We already heard Great White, and this might be one of those bands that you just lump into the same bucket.
I'm not going to get it.
This is When the Children Cry by White Lion.
Ugh, White Lion. This was that, maybe you could verify it. This was when hair metal started to die hard,
Yeah.
right?
And most of the ballads were, even the ballads that were quote unquote good were kind of laughable, like November Rain, by
I love
Guns
that
N'
song,
Roses.
actually. I like that because it rocks out at the end.
No,
But that's okay.
It does. What's the one about the lost kids? Runaway train never came back.
Any more, Dave?
Yes, this is the last one. Kind of hard, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see if Milk gets the last one.
Oh, Simply Red.
Attaboy! You know what the song is?
Holding Back the Years.
Very good.
I
enough
will
of that.
admit, I am fond of this song.
We've talked about this before.
Oh, yeah. He's a little wimpy. Yeah, they made fun of him on Family Guy.
They did in the Star Wars spoof. Simply Red,
So bad.
standing by. Yes.
Solid play date, Dave.
Solid by you.
I got off to a slow start, but I came back.
You did.
Except for the whites. I had issues with the whites.
I'm glad that wasn't the other way around, because otherwise you could be taken out of the context. You've always had an issue with the whites, man.
Well, thank you for the play, Dave. But listen, man, Dave,
Yes.
like I said, we've had 3 Rock and Roll Hall of Famers at the beginning of this podcast. I can't imagine this can continue. It's been fun while it lasted. Let's get back in the machine.
I feel I'm being duped, but let's go.
Number 7.
Like sweet morning dew, I took one look at you, and it was plain to see you were my destiny.
With arms open wide, I throw away my pride. I'll sacrifice for you, dedicate my life to you.
Oh, man.
I will go
Getting chills. Getting chills.
Yeah. You want me to let him keep going?
Yeah, let him just sing the chorus right here. Is that all right? Sing it, Marvin.
No looking back for us. We got love, show love, that's enough. You're all I need to get by.
All right, there it is. And I'm guessing I like this song a hell of a lot more than you. I'm thinking you're not going to be happy. Or
No.
am I right or am I wrong?
No, but admittedly, mostly unfamiliar. I wouldn't quite say I've never heard this song, but it sort of rings familiar, but I'm not that familiar with the Marvin Gaye library. But in listening to it...
You mean Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or Marvin Gaye?
Well, you said it. You're the chart.
4 in a row, baby.
Yeah.
All right, so this is your All I Need to Get By. But what makes this song really interesting is, yes, it is Marvin Gaye, but it's also with his duet partner, Tammy Terrell. By the way, Gaye, we talked about him before. He had 18 top 10 hits. This was the 8th of them. Peaks here at number 7. One of 3 songs in the top 10 that Gaye and Terrell duetted on.
Really? Okay.
And yeah. By the way, Ashford and Simpson wrote this song. They also sing backup. The Funk Brothers provide the music. But I don't want to talk about Marvin Gaye for a minute. I want to talk about Tammy Terrell.
Go Tammy.
Because this is a story that blows my mind, okay? First of all, she was born Thomasina Montgomery. Her parents wanted a boy named Tommy. So they were pissed, so they named her Thomasina, which is kind of mean. She eventually switched to Tammy instead of Tommy. It just worked. She eventually sang backup for James Brown, who dated and abused her when she was like 15, 16 years old and singing for her. So rough start there. Eventually, her music career floundered. She actually enrolled at the University of Pennsylvania.
Hey, go Quakers.
How about that?
How about that?
But before she matriculated, she was eventually spotted by Motown's Berry Gordy, who ultimately asked her to come on board to Motown and record with Marvin Gaye. They had a bunch of pop and R&B hits. They became legendary duet partners. There is a train of camp that says this is the greatest duet ever recorded by Motown. And Motown recorded a lot of duets. And I got to say, I love this song.
Mm-hmm.
She became a huge star because of this. But just as she was emerging, she was on stage with Marvin Gaye at a concert in 1967. So the year before this, collapsed in Marvin Gaye's arms on stage, took her to the hospital where they discovered a malignant brain tumor.
Oh, my God.
So she started to recover. She actually recorded this song and the song Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, one of their biggest hits as well.
Yeah. I know that one.
After her first surgery. But later, her health started to deteriorate. She kept performing, she kept recording, but she couldn't perform live. Eventually, a year later in 1969, she was attending a Marvin Gaye concert where she couldn't perform on stage at the Apollo Theater. Marvin Gaye saw her, jumped off the stage, and sang this with her while she was sitting in the audience. The place erupted.
Oh, my God.
In a standing ovation. And a year after that, she died in 1970 at age 24.
Wow.
Right? So she's this
incredible... she was 24, you said?
24 years old.
Good Lord.
Marvin Gaye gave the eulogy at her funeral while this song was played in the background. And apparently he could barely get the words out. Amazing.
That's
such a sad tragedy. 24 years old.
If that scene appeared in a scripted movie, you'd say, oh, yeah, like that would happen. You know,
and it is exactly what happened. Why has this story not? I think they actually were trying to make a movie out of it, but I don't know if it ever got made.
Well, were they an item? Do we know?
No, the word is that they were not. Even though when you hear them singing to each other,
Yeah.
you're like, they must be banging, right? Like
Yeah,
like you
the
can
way they're looking
feel
at
it.
each other. Yeah, exactly.
But apparently they weren't. But he still, they say that her death led to Marvin Gaye's slide into depression. And remember, when he started making What's Going On and then later Sexual Healing, he was kind of trying to emerge from this depressive state by being more real and stuff like that.
And he was,
so they say he never got over it.
And he became addicted to pornography. And that's
right.
And
if you listen to an early episode.
And that's not even a joke, people. It just happened. And he wrote Sexual
I
Healing.
would like for you
yes.
to give this song a fair shake and listen to the whole thing on headphones and tell me it's not a great. I know duets are sappy by nature, but really listen to the soul in this music.
All
I don't
right.
think you can,
No, I listen. I like it. I like the vibe. I like. We've heard a couple of voices. Well, I guess Paul McCartney's still around. So, but just these classic voices, and Marvin's voice is just immediately kind of it really hits you in the gut, and it makes you sad that just to think of. And now with Tammy's way too early demise.
I brought you down, man. I brought you down.
Well, but that's okay.
It makes it more poignant. Too.
Yes.
I think it also grounds it a little bit in a weird way.
Yes. I like it. This is more you. This is more of a Milt song
more me.
than a Dave song, but I can appreciate it for sure. I'm not going to trash this. No way. Right.
I appreciate that. Interesting little factoid. This song was later remade into a hit by the next artist on our countdown.
How about that? Good teaser, Milt. Good podcast.
How about that? Let's go back in the machine, find out who it is.
All right.
Number 6.
This is a house that Jack built, y'all. Remember this house? This was the land that he worked by hand. It was the dream of an upright man.
Aretha!
It was a room that was filled with love. It was a love that I was proud of. This is a life that he planned on the love, the same old love in the house that Jack built. The house that Jack built.
You know, again, they're getting to the point in a lot of these songs right off the bat, right? This is The House That Jack Built by Aretha Franklin. Aretha, by the way, well, we'll talk about this in a second. Aretha had 17 top 10 hits. This was number 8, right in the middle of that run. Number 6 this week, and peaks at number 6. And, you know, look, I love Aretha Franklin. Absolutely love her. This was in the era where basically everything she touched became a hit. Like, if Aretha was on it, everybody wanted to listen to it. Didn't matter, black, white, you know, soul, rock and roll, whatever. Everybody was into Aretha Franklin. And
you better think about what you're saying. You better think about the consequences of your action.
Oh my God, she's
chiming in
from above, yelling at me because she knows that I'm about to slightly diss the song.
Don't you blaspheme in here! Don't you blaspheme in here!
Go ahead.
This is a good song, right? And was actually released as a part of a compilation album called Aretha's Gold. Like, it was the new song on that album. That and Save a Little Prayer, I think, which was also a top 10 hit. But I just, of all the great Aretha hits, look, I'll listen to this over 90% of what's on the radio.
Yeah.
But this is possibly the most forgettable of all the great Aretha Franklin songs. And I really like it, but it's just feels a little redundant to me.
Yeah,
Great
I'm with you.
in a vacuum. But do you agree?
Well, I think I'm swayed by that it's a cool title. House that Jack built. Do you know what that's about? Do you know who Jack is?
Well, no, it's really a nursery rhyme kind of ode, I think.
No, okay.
I don't think there's any other story to that.
Okay. Some of my fellow teammates on the Milton Academy varsity basketball team used to refer to the gym as the house that Yaz built, but they were joking. They were teasing me.
That's so sad.
I know.
Your height did not add to your basketball prowess?
I was good. I mean, I was the co-captain of the team my varsity season, but I'd have games where I shot like 4 for 16 because I wasn't that good, but it was good enough.
Do you remember my nickname, one of my nicknames in college after trying to play basketball in one of our friends' backyards?
Springs?
That's correct. And that was not done as a compliment.
Right. See? Springs in the house that Yaz built. There you go. All right.
There we go. Basketball.
So,
look, Dave, we don't need to talk more about this song. I mean, it's a good song. Not a great song. But, Dave, that is, no joke, 5 consecutive Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts at the beginning of this countdown. I don't think we've ever done that before.
I agree. Quick question before we move to number 5. Have you seen the Aretha movie yet?
No, I'm actually dying to. That's Jennifer Hudson, right?
Is it? Yeah, I don't know. It's
Jennifer
good.
Hudson?
I guess it's called Respect.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
I've
it's
been
her.
meaning.
Did you see it?
No, I've been meaning to. Like, my son and I go to a lot of movies, and I go begrudgingly now and wear a mask until you sit down at the seat because it's still
popcorn.
It's still, yeah. Well, you got to eat the popcorn. But it looks great. But it's 2 hours 25 minutes. I guess
A hell of a life story to tell. Casting Jennifer Hudson is almost too easy, though.
True.
They could have gotten a little more creative with that.
When I'm in a bad mood, I listen to Jennifer Hudson's version of the theme from The Jeffersons. I'm not even kidding. It's so great.
They should have cast Maya Rudolph. That would change the tone of the movie a little bit, don't you think?
Yes. Become a comedy
Respect,
member.
damn it. All right. Listen, like I said, 5 straight Rock and Roll Hall of Famers. I can feel it. We're going to keep this roll going, right?
Okay.
Let's get back in the
Let's see.
machine. Number 5. Nope. It's over.
Fun while it lasted.
All right.
Okay.
You know, this is a song called, as they're saying it several times, 1, 2, 3 Red Light by, and I know people in 1968 knew this band well, and I've seen them listed many times in the rock and roll texts that I read for fun. This is a band called 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
See, right off the bat, there's too much going on in the title of that band.
Totally agree.
Like-
Doesn't work at all.
Like, the 1910 part's actually kind of cool. Like, if it were, like, the 1910 Boys or something. But 1910 Fruit Gum, and it's a compound word, fruit gum. What the hell is that? And, okay, sorry, guys. I'm already annoyed.
First of all, just give me my jingle.
Never heard of it.
Is that the one you wanted? Because it's a rare.
That's the one.
It's a rare double shot.
What the fuck were we thinking?
Yeah, I think both of these unfortunately apply here. I know that there are lovers of this song, and we've had much worse songs on our regular countdown. Let me be clear. Like, I listened to this a couple of times, and I can see its bouncy, poppy kind of feel appealing.
It's hippie.
And it's funny.
It's hippie dippy, isn't it?
A little bit. And there was a reason this band made this song and other songs like it. Is this was when the term bubblegum got developed, literally sort of almost patterned off of their band name. It was because, think about 1968 and some of the songs we heard before. It was a very heavy period where there was a lot of rebellious music, and, you know, you've got sort of rock and roll edge where people are being angsty, and, you know, the development of hard rock is starting to come up. Well, there was a kind of reaction to that music trying to go the other way, right? For people who were sick of message songs. Like that horrible, what was our song before? The one from
the year 2525.
Right, that one. Right.
Yeah.
This was like a reaction against something like that.
This reminds me a little bit of maybe almost like Puff the Magic Dragon almost.
No, it's almost like a Monkeys-ish kind of thing, but not as cool.
Right.
I mean, it's not bad. You know, the funny thing is I could see with the right artist, like if a Matthew Sweet added some like heavier guitar to this, like I'll bet Susanna Hoffs loves this song.
You're like all over the place here. But it's funny that I'll bring this up, which is apropos of nothing except Matthew Sweet, which is Matthew Sweet has nothing to do with the 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
Nothing at all.
But this will come around. I've been listening to Chuck Klosterman's book.
Yeah, you mentioned it last week.
I know, but that was
the
a
dinosaur
book.
one.
I'm working my way through his library. I think I'm on Chuck Klosterman 4 now. Anyways,
yeah, you're way behind, man. I've been on that for years.
Well, aren't you jealous? I still have all this enjoyable literature to enjoy.
Which I didn't know now what I didn't know then.
That's right. So he does an essay on the 10 most properly rated bands in history, which is a great list. So in other words, these the both
They're not overrated. They're not underrated.
they are properly rated. And Matthew Sweet made made the list. He's like, everybody knows he has one good song per album, and that's about it. And then strangely, like the Beatles made the list. He said people think they're the greatest band in the world,
Which
because
they are.
they wrote all their
So
music,
they're properly
and
rated.
they are so probably rated. He had Van Halen
What
as
does he
the
think of
number
these
one.
guys? 1910 Fruit Gun Companies. Are they on the list?
Vastly underrated and strangely still terrible. No, they did not.
By the way, they still perform today. You know, they
No
broke up
way.
a billion years ago. They are still together. You can go see the 1910
That's-
Fruit Gum Company.
That might be the most shocking thing I've ever heard.
We
Wow.
should promise ourselves
Wait,
that
do you
if
know-
we're in a town, we should go. Like if they're in town, we got to see them.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3, red light, baby.
Once they play 1, 2, 3 red light, it's all downhill after that. What do we know
They
why?
had 3 top 10 hits.
Okay, fine. Do we know why? So we're there for 20 minutes. Do we know why they were called?
The word was that one of the band members was literally in his attic and he found a gum wrapper from 1910.
Okay.
And voila, there you go.
For some
Been
reason, like,
disputed, but
when-
sounds good.
The Beatles, one of the members of the Beatles saw a poster like on a side of a building in Liverpool that said "for the benefit of Mr. Kite," and so he stole that and turned it into a pretty catchy song.
I have a
on
more
this.
important question though. What's your take on fruit stripe gum?
Loved it. I mean, haven't
Loved
seen
it,
in a
but
while.
man, that flavor went fast. Like you
True.
loved it was like
True.
it was like crack. Like it gave you that immediate hit and then it was gone. And then you were pissed.
Yeah, I seem to remember that in the phase, like fruit stripe gum was probably invented around 1968, but it was before the advent of those big block gums like Bubblicious and Bubble Yum, where they were like dentist's best friend because there was so much friggin' sugar packed into those things. And but they did last longer, and you could get a lot of good bubbles out of that. Fruit stripe, yeah, you just chewed, get the quick hit, and move on.
Do you think the white stripes would have been as big if they called themselves the fruit stripes?
Well, they would have had a more natural product.
These are
tie-in.
Chuck Klosterman kind of questions. we have
Yes,
to answer.
let's get Chuck on the
All
line.
right. So listen, we started with 5 classics. We took a downturn. Hopefully this isn't the over the hill roller coaster ride down, but I don't know. Let's find out. Let's get back in the machine, Dave.
Okay.
Number 4. We're back.
Hell yeah, man.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure. And whatever comes our way. Yeah, darling, go make it happen.
I think I'm obligated to let him go to the chorus, right, Mill?
Well, yeah, but it's not coming just yet. I think we got a little.
Oh, you're
ways,
right. You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about
By the way, this is Steppenwolf with Born to Be Wild. Even though you think this song is legendary, which it is, they are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So, oddly enough, they had 3 top 10 hits. This was the number 2 song, but they never reached the pinnacle. They were not considered long-standing enough to earn the ultimate nod. Is this coming up now?
If you're ready to fire all your guns at once and explode
Damn
into
right.
space.
Nature's child. We were born to be wild. We can climb so high. I never wanna die.
Sing it, Dave.
Born to be wild. Born to be wild.
This is great rock and roll. I know we've heard it a billion times.
And I don't know if I'm saying the obvious, but just holds up so nicely, I think.
I wonder why, too.
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
hard to know, but it just does. And by the way, you referred to this. This was the first of 3 top 10 hits for Steppenwolf, by the way. Big songs like Magic Carpet Ride, which you played at the beginning of this podcast, as a matter of fact. And this was the first identified rock music reference to heavy metal, which you also said at the beginning of
I
this
did,
podcast.
yes.
But they weren't referring to music when they were talking about heavy metal. They
Really?
were referring, they were referring to a motorcycle.
Oh, my
This
goodness.
song,
Okay.
Heavy Metal Thunder is what they were referring to.
Right.
That was a motorcycle. And in fact, this song later, the next year in 1969, played over the opening credits of Easy Rider, which is kind of funny, too, because we talked about Ghostbusters in last week's episodes and how they used Huey Lewis music as a placeholder and then switched to Ghostbusters. They actually used this song as a placeholder in the opening credits, but it worked so well. They were like, oh, man, we got to stick with this. And they got the band's permission and increased the song's legendary status.
Well, I'm sure the song's been used in many movies since.
I mean, everywhere, right?
Yeah. I can't even think of the things that this song reminds me of, but it instantly reminds me of things. And, but if you go poke around the internet a little bit, this song is inextricably linked with Easy Rider for sure.
A couple of interesting other facts, too. And this is hard to imagine because this song rocks hard, right? I mean, there's just no way. I mean, in a 1968 way, it rocks as hard as it can. It was originally written by the brother of Steppenwolf's drummer, but it was written as a folk ballad. But in classic Wonders mojo, they decided to see what it sounded like when they played it up tempo, and damn it, it worked.
Wow.
Like, I cannot imagine this song as a folk ballad. Just doesn't work.
Right.
And like you said, it's been used in a billion TV shows and movies, but there was one instance in which the band turned down an offer to have the music appear in it. Paris Hilton apparently requested that she use it on her reality show, like what was it called, The Simple Life or something like that.
Yeah,
they turned it down.
With Nicole Richie, right?
Yep. That's right. And the lead singer of Steppenwolf, John Kay, was quoted as saying, quote, "There are certain things even a rock and roller would not stoop to."
There you go. Good on you.
Good on you. And one other quick fact, and this is interesting. So Steppenwolf, like I said, never made the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but clearly the Rock Hall was starting to get worried about not celebrating these like individual kind of classic rock moments enough. So back in 2018, they decided to start inducting singles into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a separate kind of singles. The inaugural class of singles inducted in 2018, so this was only 3 years ago, contained 6 songs. And this was one of them.
Really?
Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf. Right.
The
others, I'm not going to ask you to guess because, I mean.
I want to guess.
Billions.
Wait, hold on.
You'll never guess them.
It's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame singles. So it's.
Right. But clearly their intention is to award songs by people who aren't going to make the Rock Hall, with one exception.
Yeah, I don't want to play.
Yeah, it's too hard. So the other songs that were inducted with this song were The Twist by Chubby Checker. He may be in the Rock Hall. I'm not sure. Rocket 88 by Jackie Branston, which you would recognize if you played.
Yeah.
Rumble by Link Ray, which is the classic. Louie Louie by the Kingsmen. And A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum.
I would not have chosen any of those.
Well, but remember, they're clearly choosing artists that will never make the Rock. They weren't going to put When You Close Your Eyes by Night Ranger. I'm sorry.
No, but I could see them putting Hush by Deep Purple, but Deep Purple made the Hall of Fame.
Deep Purple's in the Rock Hall. So there you go.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah,
I bet I could by the next time we get together and record, I'm going to come up with
that's fair. Now, look, I didn't want to assign this the jingle of Bad Remake, but if you want to hit it, you can hit it.
Bad Remake. Take cover.
I didn't want to select this because in a weird way, I kind of love it. Because from the album entitled Kermit Unpigged, this song was remade by Miss Piggy and none other than Ozzy Osbourne.
What? Here we go.
Miss Piggy, welcome.
Ozzy Osbourne? Boy, did I open the wrong door. I'm sorry to bother you.
Oh, Miss Piggy, you're not bothering me at all. Stick around. We're gonna
Oh, Ozzy, chill.
Just stick around, babe. We're gonna rock the place down. Come on.
Oh, you're going to sing to me?
Yeah, me and you. All right, an opportunity I've been waiting for all my life.
Pretty bad up to this point, but then...
Get your monkey running. Head out on the highway.
Well, that's just Ozzy.
Looking for adventure.
That's not bad.
You want me to wait till Piggy comes in? Come on, Piggy.
Yeah, darling,
I don't know. She comes in eventually, I'm sure. All right.
Yeah, you don't have to play the whole thing. Although when they do get to the Born to Be Wild part, it's kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
Ozzy.
Then we'll do it.
like smoking lightning.
Oh, I did too.
Heavy metal thunder. racing with the wind. And the feeling that I'm under.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, darling, gonna make it happen. Take the world in a thumb embrace.
Ozzy.
Kermit must be pissed.
Yes.
Exploded in space. Like a true.
So far, Piggy's not really singing, but
We were born to be wild.
Yes, yes.
We can climb so high.
Piggy's having a moment.
Wanna die.
Kind of orgasmic.
Born to
I know.
be wild.
Ooh.
Born to be wild.
All right, that part deserves the label, but you get the point.
Talk about bringing home the bacon. Anyway.
Oh. Although you got to admit, Kermit Unpigged is kind of a great album title. I do love that.
Yeah. That's
Wow, great song.
Yep.
God, great list. But you know what? Premature. We got to keep going.
Do you know where Steppenwolf, the band's name, came from?
Oh no, you know what? I meant to figure that out.
I'm not
Do you?
completely sure either. I mean, I know where it came from. It was a book written by Hermann Hesse, a German author, and at some point they changed their name from something else to Steppenwolf. It kind of reminds me of
Not a great anecdote there, was it, Dave?
I'm just
Not a classic.
I
Not a
asked
classic.
you. You're the friggin' Chartmeister. You
I'm
want me
going to save
read
it for one of the other two top 10 hits.
You know
we'll
what?
cover that for the other one.
I have it here. I just didn't have time to summarize it, but I'll talk fast. A young man who lived next door to where Steppenwolf started to rehearse, by the name of Gabriel Melcher, born and raised in Israel, had read the book. When it came time to put a name on the demo box that was going to the first label, he said, well, what's the band called? And aside from obvious joke names and other obscene suggestions which were not marketable, he finally said, well, look, how about Steppenwolf? I think it's a word that looks good in print and denotes a certain degree of mystery and power, and you guys are kind of rough and ready types. And that was good enough for them.
Just read that straight off the page, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't even know what source I'm quoting because I saw it on the internet. It must be true. Sounds like a good story. Yeah.
Can we get back in the machine now?
Sound a little bitter. All right. Step off. All right, here we go.
Number 3. A familiar twist.
Indeed. Somewhat of a callback to number 9 on this list.
Correct.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, hey, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire.
All right, that's good. So yeah, this is the now legendary Jose Feliciano with his remake of The Doors' Light My Fire. And I feel like we talked about this before. This was in a unique moment in time where hit songs could be released and then a year or two later
Very
it
weird.
can be remade and it becomes another hit. That never happens anymore.
Right. Oh, even like in the 80s, it didn't happen. Like it would be weird if it happened in the 80s. Like it's like what?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like you felt like it was almost like how like in sports in the Hall of Fame you have to retire and then 5 years have to go by before you get into the Hall of Fame. Like that felt like a covering a song. Like you got to let it marinate for a while.
Right.
But
The Doors. This was a number 1 hit for the Doors 1 year before.
Very
and
strange.
here it is at number 3.
Yeah.
By the way, it's the only Jose Feliciano. Everybody knows that name for some reason. He only had one top 10 single until last year. And do you know why? Because last year, only a few years ago, did the Billboard charts, we talked about this before, allow Christmas songs released from previous years to be entered into the Hot 100 again. And last year in 2020,
of course,
Jose Feliciano's Feliz Navidad hit number 6 on the charts. Funny, right?
And Justice, because that's a great song. That's actually yeah. It kind of rocks and it's fun and it's just a cool twist on on Christmas songs.
I want to
Yeah.
wish you
Yeah.
a Merry
Yeah, that's a great song. This song, however, I'm going to go right out and tell you that this song depresses the fuck out of me. I have no need for it whatsoever. I feel like Jose Feliciano was one of these like untouchable guys. Like, okay, so he's blind. So he's obviously overcome a lot in his life, and he's a soulful singer. But
Don't mess with Jose Feliciano.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And now enough time has
Jose's
gone by.
blind.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I tell you, Stevie Wonder has the occasional misstep, which I know that makes you very upset. But this one, I don't know. Do you like this song? Listen to him.
Well, all right.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Look, we do say that the hallmark of a good remake is to take a classic and twist it and make it somewhat unique while still retaining some of the elements of the original.
I suppose he did that. He did that.
It's a Latin fusion kind of manipulation of this song.
Yes.
And he had made hit albums in Latin America and was touring the world when I think it was the producer of Jefferson Airplane signed him and they recorded this.
Yep.
It worked at the time, but I will admit when I listened to the song again, I haven't heard it in a long time. I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
It's just amazing to think that the same radio dial in 1968 could feature Born to Be Wild and then this song. I guarantee you no DJ ever played them back to back because it would break the airwaves. He won,
by the way, this year he won Best New Artist at the Grammys, largely because of this song. I mean, that's how big a song this was.
Oh, for Christ's sakes. I do remember that this.
He lives. We should keep this down. He lives now. He lives in Weston, the town next door to me. He's listening to us right now.
They can't hear us. He's blind. Oh, no. But this song is mentioned in the Doors movie, the Val Kilmer, Oliver Stone project. Do you remember
this version of it?
Well, what happens is Jim Morrison comes back from one of his benders or one of his absences or something, and he comes in and is meeting with the band, and there's a TV in the room, and it's like a toothpaste commercial that says, "Come on, baby, light my fire." And Jim Morrison looks with disdain at the TV and says, "Nice song." And they said the Frank Whaley, who's playing the guitar, the bassist or whatever, I don't know. He says, "I don't know, Jim. We figured since the Feliciano thing is out there, it's just gone commercial anyway.
Let it rip."
So, yeah.
One small callback, by the way. Feliciano also it was very controversial at the time, but when he remade the national anthem singing live at a baseball game, and twisted it around, he became A, criticized, but B, it then became the first artist to release a remake of that song to chart on the charts, and later inspired Marvin Gaye to do his version, which is an all-time classic. See how it comes around? Marvin Gaye would do Doors.
No, absolutely. So Jose changed some of the words to the anthem?
No, but the style of the way the song was delivered. When up to that point, people delivered it straight. And he was one of the first to actually try to change it and add a different flair. And people didn't like it, but it also became a hit and led to an explosion of different unique remakes, including Marvin Gaye's, which is one of the greatest of all time.
That also led to a Bill Murray bit, which I believe was his Nick the Lounge Singer character, who said, "Jose, can you see?" Which is a goof on Jose's
that's mean
impairment. Yes,
that's
I agree.
Mean.
I agree. I do not
All right,
support
so
that.
we're not huge fans.
I don't support. But hey, you go where you want to go, Charmeister. I say this song sucks.
Sorry, Jose. Forgive us.
I'd say I love Jose. I want to listen to Feliz Navidad right now, even though it's September.
You can't. It's September. Can't do it. Too soon.
Maybe
Too
later.
soon.
Okay.
Let's get back in the machine.
Let's go.
Number 2.
I want to tell you all a story about a Harper Valley widowed wife.
Little twang. Got some
Had a
twang.
teenage daughter who attended Harper Valley Junior High.
hear what happens next.
And she
Story
said,
song.
Mama got a note here from the Harper Valley PTA.
All right. Well, listen, I can guarantee you this song was not on our playlists ever, really, but definitely not growing up, right? This is Harper Valley PTA by a singer named Jeannie C. Riley. It's her debut single and the only top 10 pop hit, but she became a country star after this.
Do you think,
here.
just before you go any further, do you think she sounds like Dolly Parton?
And it was signed by the secretary,
Absolutely.
Harper Valley.
Doesn't she? Yeah. Okay.
She might not have as strong a voice. This peaked at number 1, by the way. And it's funny you bring that up. She became, with this song, the first woman to top both the pop and country charts, and was followed years later in that achievement by none other than Dolly Parton.
9 to 5?
Hit with 9 to 5. Exactly.
Right.
Good
Yeah.
point. Now, look, like I said, this song was not in my vocabulary by any. There's no way the 16-year-old me was cranking this in my car in high school. But Dave, this song is hilarious.
I should listen to more of it. I'm very curious. Okay, so stupid question. PTA is the Parents Teachers Association?
That is correct.
Okay,
Now-
and so it's just some little town. Okay, go ahead. You tell.
Parent Teachers Associations had, and still do to some extent, had a reputation of being a very controlling, judgmental organization, right? That it was so important for suburban women to kowtow to the PTA, right? You got to do your your bakery samples for the bake sales, and you got to be a certain way. This song is about a widow who storms in a local PTA meeting after the PTA sent a letter home with her teenage daughter saying, "Listen, lady, I know you're a widow, but you're wearing too many mini skirts, and the rumor is you're getting drunk and sleeping around, and we don't like that." So she storms into the PTA meeting, and one by one, and they're named in the song, calls out each of the PTA members and tells them all the nasty shit they're doing.
Oh, no way.
Basically saying, you ain't going to judge me.
Right.
So this whole self-righteous PTA thing, they all get caught for their hypocritical behavior and such. And there's a great twist at the end where the singer, it's Jeannie C. Riley, reveals that she's the daughter of the woman, recalling about when her mom stormed into the PTA meeting and told them all off, basically.
I love it.
Which is kind of great. I think you got to listen to the lyrics. It's the reason the song was a hit. I'm not sure the music is anything legendary to remember. It's just a country song, but it's really effing funny.
Well, I like the way it turns that Southern conceit on its head, because you and I can both picture, the way, I mean, we've never lived in the deep South, but I've heard stories, and and just what you described, I think is the reputation of this. There's always whispering behind your back. And I like the fact that this is like a revenge song. You know what it reminds me of?
Total revenge from a badass country woman, basically.
Right. It reminds me of, you'll remember when we were in college, we saw a documentary film called Beauty Knows No Pain. Do you remember that?
I don't. What was that?
So it was about a group of women in the Deep South who were trying out for, I don't remember if it was a college or a preparatory school or some organization, but they were trying out to be majorettes at this the most prestigious majorette school or whatever. And the movie takes its title from this moment where they had to pose for a picture, and all these Southern belles. This is a documentary produced in the 70s. All these Southern belles, with their hair just so, they had to pose for this picture. But for whatever reason, there was this like very sharp bush behind them, like a shrubbery behind them. And it was tradition that certain women would be getting pinched, and really painfully so, during the shooting of this. You don't remember this? And
I don't remember this.
And the photographer kept going, "Beauty knows no pain, ladies. Beauty knows no pain." And so they had to sit there very prim and proper, like a lot of these ladies that I think Jeannie Riley was railing against. I can't believe you don't remember that. I
totally skipped that week. There's no doubt about it. It's probably why I got a bad grade.
It was Professor Amos Vogel's class. You were there.
You gotta watch. Oh, by the way, later, but there was a movie and TV show called Harper Valley PTA.
Right.
So the song kind of lived on. It starred Barbara Eden from I Dream of Jeannie,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, of course.
And it was all based on this song. They built a whole like storyline and culture out of it. And
Right.
again, I don't love the song itself, but it's one of those great country songs where the story itself is so much fun to listen to that it's worth going back.
Agree. Also reminds me of Flo, the waitress from this TV show, Alice.
Flo.
Kiss My Grits.
Gum snapping Flo.
Right.
I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, that works for me. All right, Dave. Really fun list, but it's time, man. We've reached the top. We've reached the pinnacle, the top of the charts here in 1968. Let's find out what the song is and hope it holds up and does justice.
Here we
Do
go.
it.
Let's go to the top.
Number 1.
All the world over so easy to see. People everywhere just wanna be free. Listen, please, listen, that's the way it should be. Peace in the valley, people got to be free.
Now we got some hippie shit going on, right?
You guys can't see. Milt is doing a dance. Last done in the safety dance video, Men Without Hats. That's what it looks like.
All right, so Dave, this is a legendary band called the Rascals playing their song "People Got to Be Free." I'm pretty sure the Rascals are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame too, which is kind of crazy. I mean, this week has got them lined up.
How about it?
But this was the 5th and final top 10 hit for the Rascals and was their 3rd number 1 song. This one's very different than their other 2. The other 2 number 1 songs were Good Lovin' and Groovin', which are 2 kind of, well, we'll go there for a second. This is number 1.
Good Lovin' was featured famously in The Big Chill. And
of course.
Yeah.
Good Love.
Good
Great
Love.
song.
Yeah.
And frankly, I like that song better, but that's fine.
Me too.
Like I said, this is the number 1 song. It stayed at number 1 for 5 weeks and finishes as the number 5 song of the year. Enormous hit in 1968. Now, this is a change of pace. The Rascals were a New Jersey rock band, almost like a garagey kind of rock band. That song, Good Lovin' is a classic garage rock song.
Yeah. But
they embraced an R&B sound. And in fact, the Rascals became the first non-black act to sign with Atlantic Records. They originally had to change their name to the Young Rascals. Often some of those early songs are credited to the Young Rascals because there was another band that had a similar name and threatened to sue. But this song...
Wait, sorry. I've said it before, but that's a Spinal Tap moment. There was another band. We were the Originals, but then there was another band called the Originals, so we had to be the new Originals, and then the old Originals, and then we thought, what's the point?
The Young Rascals. That's actually pretty... If you're going to have to make a change, that's pretty good when you were young, and they were young. But this was, their other music was kind of party, groovy R&B music. This sort of turned away from kind of non-message music, and this was a real hippy-dippy song. In fact, so much so that the band's label didn't want to release it. They thought it would alienate people, but the band forced them, and here it is, a number 1 song. It was written as a reaction. The band, it was 1968. They grew their hair long. They were wearing kind of hippie clothes, and apparently they played a show in Florida when their bus stopped, and they were threatened by a bunch of rednecks. And their reaction to that was to write this song about, hey, man, we just got to be free and love one another.
Right.
Very late 60s. Very. And they wrote this after.
It's kind of 2 back-to-back anti-redneck songs in a row, sort of.
A little bit of a twist.
Yeah,
I'll give you that.
All right.
And they wrote this after Martin Luther King's assassination. It really was meant to be sort of a unifying song. But what I like about this, I mentioned the fact that they were the first non-black artist signed to Atlantic Records, but they put their money where their mouth is. After this song came out, and they played for years, the band refused to play concerts of any kind unless there was also an African-American artist on the bill.
How about that?
They decided,
Go Rascals.
We've co-opted R&B music.
That's so cool.
We're not going to allow other, promoters or whatever to totally manipulate. We want to support the African-American musical community. They would not play unless they could get booked with another black band. That's kind of cool.
Never would have guessed that. Go Jersey Rock, go Rascals. Seriously, it's fantastic. And
this song feels a little dated, don't you think? Like, I don't get, when I hear Born to Be Wild on the radio, I'm pumped, right? It doesn't feel like 68.
Yeah, it's a
This one,
it's fine.
Turn it up again.
Okay.
I mean, it's soulful, right? I mean, it's got something, but
It ain't bad. It reminds me of who sang the Jeremiah was a bullfrog song.
it's Three Dog Night. There's a
Three Dog Night, yeah.
There's a little Three Dog Night.
Yeah, and
Maybe,
the title doesn't do it any favors. People got to be free. It's like we're 2 steps away from free to be you and me, basically. By the way,
true.
The complete parentheses, but you mentioned MLK, and I just saw something that I think you'll find interesting. Martin Luther King was born the same year that Anne Frank was born. Did you know that? So that's kind of interesting, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And
sad.
At the time they were born that year, Betty White was already 7 years old.
Oh my God. Seriously? Yeah. Man, I want what she's having.
I know, right? She's gonna dance on all of our graves. Yes.
Well, look, Dave, fascinating week.
Yeah.
Fascinating week. Will you run our listeners through the top 10?
I'd be delighted, Milt. The top 10 for the week ending September 14th, 1968 were as follows. Number 10, Hey Jude, The Beatles. Number 9, Hello, I Love You, The Doors. Number 8, Hush, Deep Purple. Number 7, You're All I Need to Get By, Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Number 6, The House That Jack Built, Aretha Franklin. Number 5, 1, 2, 3, Red Light, 1910, Fruit Gum Company. Okay. Number 4, Born to Be Wild, Steppenwolf. Number 3, Light My Fire. Hello, Jose Feliciano. It's just Jose Feliciano. Number 2, Harper Valley, PTA, Jeannie C. Riley. And the number 1 song for the week ending September 14th, 1968 was People Got to Be Free by the Rascals.
You mucked that up nicely, Dave. I'm thrilled.
But I played it for laughs, so I'm okay with
agree.
it. Yeah.
Let's jump right in, man. Let's get to the categories.
Okay, let's go. You ready?
Yep.
Winner of the week.
Man, this should be tough, but I have a feeling it's not going to be. But let's look back on these top 10 songs. A bunch of classics. You got to admit, a bunch of songs that are around and around a lot. Which song holds up the best today and therefore wins the week? Dave, where are you going?
I could be controversial and say Born to Be Wild, or maybe even Hello, I Love You. But it's got to be Hey Jude.
Yeah,
Hey Jude.
yeah. I don't want to. I'm with you. You listen to Born to Be Wild, and it's remarkable how well that song holds up.
Yep.
And like I said before, I get chills when I hear "You're All I Need to Get By." And now that you know that backstory, you may get chills too. It's an incredibly soulful, beautiful duet. It's not topping "Hey Jude" by the Beatles. Let's not be stupid, right?
Yeah.
Let's just put it there. And
sometimes it doesn't pay to be clever and whatnot. And yeah, I don't know. I was trying to think if maybe even my favorite Doors song would top "Hey Jude," and I can't.
No,
it's
not going to happen. You tried. You did your best.
It's like I am Gumby, damn it. It is Hey.
Shut up.
It is Hey Jude, damn it, and you leave it alone and you just pay it its respects. Okay,
fair enough. Let's bring in the referee.
Okay.
That sound, of course, means it's time for the substitution. Our chance to write the music.
You and me both this week. Yeah, good.
I know it's late.
Yeah.
We are going to kick one song out of the top 10 that we feel does not deserve the honor of being on this pretty impressive chart. We're going to boot one song and replace it by another song that was in the Hot 100 this week, but never made the top 10. Breaking into this list is an impressive achievement, and we're going to anoint one song each with that honor. Dave, who do you want to start?
Anoint, another great word.
I'm doing it today.
Yes, if you hand me the baton.
I'd love to. Who are you booting?
Well, when I first glanced at this list, I figured I'd be kicking out either that 1910 bubblegum nonsense or maybe even a different one, but I'm kicking out Jose. I
knew that was coming.
It is if I want to, fill my apartment with buckets of tears, maybe just from being fucking depressed, maybe I'll listen to Light My Fire by Jose. And that's a perfectly good song.
Fire out. You are dousing the flames.
That's right. Your flames are. And this is appropriate because you need a kick-ass rock and roll song to right that wrong. And how about The Who?
Well done.
How about Magic Bus? Never made the top 10. Let's take a little bit of a listen. The lot going on in this song, right?
They take their time.
Day I get in the queue to get on the bus that takes me to you. I'm so nervous I just sit and smile. Your house is only another mile.
So just a solid, straight down the middle rock and roll song, Magic Bus. I don't know too much about this song other than it's written from the voice of a guy looking to meet up with his girl, and couldn't you please take this bus so I can see my girl? And eventually the reply comes, okay, we'll take the Magic Bus to see your girl. But anyway, just a good rockin' song. Good
Great
song,
song.
right? Yeah.
At the time, I couldn't care less about the lyrics. It just was a cool song.
Yeah. And there's something about that call and reply. Too much Magic Bus. Like if you don't know any lyrics to the song, you can still sing along with that part, which I think is cool. So, okay, that's mine.
Fine choice, David. Fine choice. Can't argue with that one. Well, look, you're leaving me some gum, so
take the gum.
That's a fairly obvious play. I'm gonna boot out the 1910 Fruit Gun Company. And by the way, like I said, it's not as bad. Well, it's pretty bad, but I don't. There's worse songs we've had in our countdown, but I'm booting them out anyway because it's a good countdown. But I'm going to replace it with, this is a classic that everybody knows. But what I love about this is it kind of mixes three genres. You got rock music, you got country music, and you got gospel. Give me the band, baby, with the weight.
I pulled into Nazareth, was feeling about half-past dead. I just need some place where I can lay my head. Hey, mister, can you tell me where a man might find a bed? He just grinned and shook my hand.
And everybody likes to sing
Another
this
great
chorus. Am I right? Everybody.
Absolutely.
Take a load off Fanny. Take a load for free. Take a load off Fanny.
Harmony.
And you put the load right on me.
Oh, that's so
Dave,
good.
you ruined it, Dave. You ruined it.
No, they won't be able to hear my lyrics so much on this.
I hope so. That's just great, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is an example of a song that I think has gotten better with age. I probably didn't love this when I was growing up. I love it now. Great tune.
Well, I'll sound like a broken record, but this song also was memorably revived by the film The Big Chill, and I don't think I had heard about it before that. But, and I remember you were the one of a group of our friends that always knew what the name of the song was, because most people think it's called "Take a Load Off Fanny," which by the way, who's Fanny? Is that a person, or is it like?
You're right. That, by the way, I'm impressed that you knew it was Fanny, because most people think it's Annie, but it is Fanny.
Yeah.
No, I think they were based. All the characters in the song, they named somebody named Chester and Annalie. I think they were all like friends of the band, and they just threw their names in there. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get some news dispatch that famous groupie Fanny Bumpalati died recently. she
right,
was more or less probably some person that we'll never know until she dies.
You're totally right,
Fanny. I hope you're still doing.
Sorry,
well.
Fanny.
Sorry, Fanny.
Hang in there, Fanny. We love you.
All
right, man. Good substitutions this week for a good list too.
Yep.
Dave, do we have time for the category?
Maybe we do.
The category. All right. So as usual, one quick exercise. We're gonna reach into our category and pick out a category that has something to do with the song titles on this list, right?
That's the plan. That's what we do on the category. And so
let me get into the bag.
The titles of the songs, we decide whether they fit the very words.
Opening up the list. Right.
Opening up the hat.
Oh, okay. This is interesting. Could this song title be a celebrity's dying words?
Oh, okay.
So could it be someone's dying words? Actually, we should say, we found out today that the legendary comic, who is right up your alley, I'm sure, Norm Macdonald, passed away. Big shock. Nobody knew he had cancer. Hilarious, acerbic guy.
I loved him so much.
Norm Macdonald commemorative.
Could be Norm. Could be
category.
Here we go.
Okay, you ready? I'll give you the title and say, could this be his dying words? Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Jude.
Hey, Jude.
It kind of suck.
I mean,
it's like right before you die, saying, "Hey,
that."
hey, man.
Hey,
Dead.
Jude. Out of context, like, hey, Jude. It's like, yeah, what?
That would suck.
Yeah, that would suck, and then you die. Yeah.
Hello, I love you. Actually, that works because I'm going to disagree because there's a little dementia going on right before passing, and since that makes absolutely no sense, that is something I could imagine somebody about to say.
If it were in two parts, it's like they're just taking their last breath. Hello, I love you. Dead. Yeah, I like it.
Then there's hush.
I don't know.
Well, they're about to hush.
They're hushing,
forever.
but they're hushing us. Imagine if someone were so like, some old biddy was always shushing you, and she went to shush you and then hush, and then you're dead now, bitch. So I can talk. All right, sorry, go ahead.
You're all I need to get by. Oh my God! You know what? Those would be some moving last words, right?
That's
Jesus,
brilliant. That's brilliant because
it's remember that one.
It's like you're all I need, like for wherever I'm going now. Yeah, it's a good one.
Wow.
Okay,
that's memorable. The house that Jack built. That would be very confusing.
The house that Jack built. Yes.
Dot. No.
And they're dead.
Doesn't work.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, red light. Yes.
What? Oh, actually,
people have visions.
That's supposed to be a white
entering
light.
the gates of heaven, and it's like 1, 2, 3, and oh no, they hit the red light. That must mean they're going the other way.
Oh, okay. Even more interesting. Okay, we'll give it.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man, I want to go out saying "Born to Be Wild."
Yes, pretty good. It sort of implies "Born to Be Wild." Born to die wild, or something.
The implication is there.
Right?
I'm with you on
okay.
that. That works.
All right.
Ooh, this is kind of gross. Light my fire?
No, it's just kind of like, I just want to remind you guys, not burial, not entombment. Cremation. Please, cremate me. Light my fire.
Terrible.
Okay, gotta go.
That's terrible.
It's a winner.
Harper Valley PTA.
That would be worse than like Rosebud.
No, unless like the last question your spouse asks you before you pass away is, do you have any meetings you want me to cancel? Harper Valley PTA.
Harper Valley PTA. It just sounds like it's so random. It reminds me of a scene in the farcical movie Hot Shots where what's his name, John Cryer, is concussed and just kind of pops up from being half conscious and says, "Thank you, Andre. I'll have the veal piccata," and then passes out. It's just a great Harper Valley PTA. What were you saying? He's dead. Okay.
And then finally, people gotta be free.
Well, yeah.
You know,
I mean,
your soul being
if you had the presence of mind to say that at your dying day, then points
this
for you.
worked pretty well. Pretty good
Pretty
category.
Yep.
All right, Dave. Now it's time to look back on the list as a whole. When you take a look at this top 10 list,
yes,
how it encapsulates both September 1968 and where we are today musically. Was this a time machine worthy week? Let's do our grading scale.
Let's do
it. Of course, that is A for Aerosmith, B for Bee Gees, C for Carpenters, D for Damn Yankees, and F for Frank Stallone. All right, I think Frank is free this week. I'm hoping we're not going there. But Dave,
we have this.
Where would you rate the week?
Just to explain, Frank Stallone had that one big hit. So anytime we say Frank Stallone's name, I just said it.
Should have come up again.
I don't think it's going to come up again. Okay. Yes. So now I have the echoes of Professor David Gallant ringing in my head saying, "Don't be too easy a grader." I think I'm going to go Bee Gees, straight B. Okay. And so Milt, you're probably thinking, why did I go that low? Because you got Hey Jude, you got a classic Doors song. But You got some humdrum songs in there. The number one song is Humdrum. Harper Valley PTA is just kind of like, okay. You got the Fruit Gum in there. You got an Aretha song that was probably only on the charts because she's Aretha. So there you go. And then it's yanked up by the classic songs on here.
Dave?
Bee Gees for me. Go ahead.
Dave?
I'm wrong.
I'm giving this a straight Aerosmith.
Whoa.
That is correct. Dave, we've got some legends on this chart. We've got great songs that were immortalized by classic rock radio. We have Rock and Roll Hall of Famers with some of their greatest tunes. And the lows of this chart aren't horrendously low. I think we've heard a lot worse than Jose Feliciano's Light My Fire and a whole hell of a lot worse than the 1910 Fruit Gun Company. They're not great, but when we think about the lists that we've covered on this podcast and how they collectively rank either great, not so great, or poor, I don't know if we've done a list that has this many classics on it.
I'm sure
and
we have.
I'm giving it an Aerosmith.
All right. You're going too easy.
You think so?
Yes,
you think so?
Yes, and I'm going to prove it, okay? So let's say we invite you all to do this. Make it, because we're not going to do it because we're too lazy, but create a Spotify playlist of just these 10 songs, okay?
Yep.
And then you're on a road trip and you fire up this list. Would you listen to the entire 10 songs knowing that with just one click of your finger, you can move on to the next song if you'd care not to listen to a particular song? Or would you listen to all 10?
I would.
All 10? All 10?
10 songs.
Liar!
Okay. All right, listen. The Fruit Gun Company, well, it's short enough.
You're going to listen to that whole Light My Fire nonsense by Jose?
Well,
You're gonna listen
as a
to
curiosity, knowing that I won't have to listen to it again, maybe. I love this list. I got to say, I had a good time covering it. I had a good time listening to it.
Okay, so then, viva la difference. It's cool.
It is what it is. It was. Now, everybody, remember this. Dave and I chose our substitutions. Those substitutions were Magic Bus by The Who and The Wait by the band.
Why'd you have to repeat it? You're just making it easy on them, but okay.
Email us at top10timemachine@gmail.com in the next 24 hours after this is posted, and you will receive a free 1980s t-shirt courtesy of Past Tens.
That's right.
A Top 10 Time Machine. Did I get that right?
Yeah. It's the 80s mantra t-shirt that Tommy used to work on the Docks t-shirt. It's a kick-ass t-shirt. You're going to love it.
It is. It really is. Now, a couple just quick housekeeping notes again. Email us, top10timemachine@gmail.com. This episode and all of our episodes are up, as always, at timemachinepod.com. And a little bit of a teaser. Our next episode is going to be a little bit of a twist.
Ooh.
A little bit of a twist of the way we normally run our pods. I think you're going to like it.
I'm actually super looking forward to this. So there's your incredibly vague teaser.
That's
you will
it.
like
no,
it. Like
no
yes.
more details.
No, that's all
no
you get.
Details.
That's all you get, machiners.
It involves numbers.
And maybe 10? Maybe 10 songs? Wow, that would be a twist.
Individual numbers. We'll leave it at that.
Keep those cards and letters coming. Email us. Website, of course. Top 10. No, I screwed it up again. TimeMachinePod.com.
And top10timemachine@gmail.com. Guys, love that you're listening. We love doing this. Stay with us. We'll be back soon.
Milt, nice job this week. You may now take a load off your fanny.
And light my fire.
No, maybe later. Thanks, everybody.
Go down, Miss Moses. There's nothing you can say. It's just old